last game in the Farrell. Your whole career has been here. Is there any sentimentality? I mean, is this last game in here?
I mean, it's sad to see it go, but, I'm excited to go to the new gym, but kind of sad because this is where it all started. I feel like I've been the only one on the team that's played the most games in the Farrell with the coaching staff, too. I'm the only one that's played a lot of games in here. It's been a lot of great memories, but let's go to Foster.
At this time, what is your single greatest memory?
The greatest memory, the single one, is probably cutting down the first Big 12 net. When I was here, that would probably be the best memory so far.
How much have you grown just in this building? Thinking about like where you came in to where you are now.
I've grown tremendously, honestly. From not playing my freshman year to coming in, starting sophomore year, junior year, senior year now, being a leader on this team, being a veteran, being the only player actually to been on this program for 4 years. It's a fun thing. I'm just happy to be here.
You remember your first time stepping out there and kind of taking the size of it and everything in? Like, what was that like?
I was like, there's a lot of people. It was like nerves running through my body, but I was like, you know what, you're built for this moment. I've been playing basketball all my life, so I was like, it's just another game at the end of the day. I think another great memory that I actually have is not even being on the team yet, but when I came, when they played UConn, and just the atmosphere of the gym, I was like, this is somewhere I got to be, especially with the fans. I was like, this is the atmosphere that I want to be in.
Were you on the team the day Juicy made 14 threes here?
I was not.
You weren't. Okay.
I was not.
Remember when that was.
Yeah, I watched it on TV, though, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kat, this is your second game with all the school kids in the
Yeah.
gym cheering. What's that atmosphere like for you all as a player? Do you tune it out, or is it something you really notice as the game's going on?
I feel. Can you repeat again?
Yeah, what's it like for you, the experience like for you as a player with all the kids in the arena and the noise they make?
I feel like it's gonna be good for us, all the energy. I know they're gonna be screaming and yelling a lot, but we're excited. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun game.
Any special memories for you in the Farrell? I know you've only been here a year and a half, but any stand out to you?
Yes, I would say the Utah game. I feel like we had the biggest crown we had before, and it was great. All the energy that they brought, the environment. It was such a good game.
You guys have the Delaware State game obviously tomorrow, then Miami on Saturday. Talk about just the team's mentality to take every game, one game at a time, and moving towards, Saturday's game against Miami.
I think you said it best. It's been a while since we've played, so I think, tomorrow we got to come out and play to prepare for Miami. But most of all, we got to take it one game at a time, like you said. We can't focus on Miami today and we play Delaware State tomorrow. That's not how it goes. Got to take it one game at a time, and as soon as we're done with Delaware, then we'll start preparing for Miami.
Kat, Sarah said that you guys haven't played a game in a little bit, but how has this break been to just really focus on you guys in practice and just as a team, and what are maybe some things you guys are getting stronger at in the gym?
Yeah, we mainly have been focused on defense, details. I mean, the details on defense, like working on our zone or the fast break. Sarah, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think Kat said it best. We worked on our zone and our fast breaks. I think we prepared a little bit for, people to press us, too, on the defensive end. We've had to learn how to break presses. But I think most of all it's us playing zone that way, Now people got to shoot the ball against us and show that they can knock down shots.
Sarah, how much better, what's this team's ceiling defensively? How good could this team be defensively as the year goes on?
I think we haven't even showed our best defense yet. I think that's the best thing about this team. I think, honestly, we elevate each game. We show that we've grown in something new each game. And I think, by the time March comes around, we're going to be talked about as one of the best defensive teams in the country.
Sarah, are you 100% over your foot situation? You don't even notice it anymore? It's totally gone, right?
Foot's gone, I'm 100% healthy. I'm feeling good, yeah. Both of my feet are good,
Yeah.
Foot's gone, It's gone. It's not there. It don't bother me. Forget I even got feet sometimes. Yeah. No, I'm healthy, and I'm feeling the best I've had in a while.
Kat, in year two, last year there was a lot of depth on the team. This year there's even more depth. Just
Yeah.
talk about the depth of this team of, when your name's called to go into the game, what's Coach Dickey's expectation of you? How can you contribute? But just talk about the depth of the team.
Yeah, I feel like it's just being ready. Like, whenever she calls my name, be ready, and whenever the team needs me and what she needs me, I'm right there to do it.
I'm curious, this has nothing to do with the next 2 games, but have y'all been paying any attention to how strong the Big 12 appears to be this year? I mean, obviously Texas, but K-State beat Iowa at Iowa. You've got Tech's undefeated, TCU's undefeated. What are your thoughts about that so far?
I think it's great because I think it shows actually how good our league is and how our league has grown over time. With us adding teams next year too, I think our league is just getting better and better. But most of all, I think it prepares us for the NCAA tournament. Going against great talent like that on each and every night. It's like the tournament almost. On any given night in the Big 12, any team can be beat.
So you've been off 11 days. Can you just, from a personal standpoint, did you take some of that time to recruit, or tell us a little bit about just you as the coach, what took place for 11 days?
Yeah, I mean, you do a little recruiting. Sometimes there aren't a ton of games at this time, even in high school, too. So, but we did. We split up. There was a huge event out in D.C. that Sadie went to. I went and I don't know what, I'm not allowed to use prospects' names, but our top still 2024 prospect went and watched her in a big matchup. And so you do some of that. You do a lot of watching your own game film and like prepping forward. You can get in that grind of game after game where you watch it afterwards, but then really break it down and try to figure out, okay, what are we gonna get out of this next week, and balancing that with they're in finals, days off, true days off, things like that, getting the most in a short period of time. So as much as it's a long break and you feel like you can build a lot, it's actually kind of hard during finals to really build.
With that layoff, to some extent, do you worry about the layoff?
Yes. Yeah, you worry about the layoff. You worry about the sharpness. You worry about conditioning. And we were lucky. We had practice guys up through today. We won't have them now for a while. And we can certainly go against one another, but it always gets a little chippy when we go against one another. And so you try to balance that. But yeah, you do worry about this. I mean, it's always good to have good stretches where bodies heal and you get rest and recovery. But then it hits a point where you're like, we're getting sloppy, and wanting to not. I told them today that the reason we're 7-0 is we prepared to be 7-0. And we have to prepare like we want to be 8-0 and 9-0. And so, we can't read headlines. We can't, we can do all the things that we need to do to keep excitement around our program. But I told them there's not going to be an Instagram story in 30 years, but there'll be a banner. So like, what are you playing for? The Instagram story or the banner? And so like trying to keep perspective for them to understand that it's great to post highlights and it's great to have all these great stats or whatever, but ultimately, like if you want to have a legacy, it's not going to be what you did the first 7 games. It's going to be what you did that season, and the only way to get a banner is to win a championship. So trying to get them refocused that way, because it's really hard. They get so between Christmas break, finals being done, like there's just like a like they're just wired, and you just like trying to keep them focused on the task at hand is a unique challenge kind of between the finals and the Christmas break. Like when you get them back, it's usually different. You get back from Christmas, conferences coming up. There tends to be a different focus, but this whole like we're done with school and now we have free time and now we have money to spend and now like it's not my favorite time as a coach.
What do you hope to get out of tomorrow's game, just in terms of, like you said, you're getting back into it, but you've got a game to play, and then you got another one Saturday, that kind of thing?
Yeah, obviously short turnaround. We haven't had a lot of that this year. I think some of it is just it's conditioning, it's running up and down, it's taking care of the basketball, it's making open shots. I challenged them to get on the shooting machine today because I just thought we were missing open shots, and part of our success has been the ability to make open shots. But it's about, I say this a lot, and it hasn't come to fruition yet, but we've played against a lot of teams that leading up to playing us press, and then we play them and they don't press us. So we spend a lot of time on our press break, and then we don't get pressed like a single possession. I don't know that we've gotten really pressed a single possession. Delaware State is a team that has shown a 2-2-1 press when they score. Just handling it. I think they're a little kamikaze in the half court at times. Like, my guess, they play some man, they play some zone, they play more zone, against the Power 5 teams than they play man. When you think Rutgers or West Virginia that they played, but they won't just sit in a traditional 2-3 zone. They will some, and sometimes they'll flex it to a 3-2. They'll kind of go 2 to the ball. And just try to fly around and make you speed up and make quicker decisions. And, if you handle it and you execute, you get wide open shots. If you don't, if you rush, you take rush shots, you turn it over, and that's where they can beat you because they can get in transition. They're fast. They play a lot of players, and so they can get going in transition. So I think, focus-wise, it's transition D. It's always going to be rebounding. It's going to be what does our pace look like? And, more than anything, like I'm just such a believer in taking care of the basketball that nothing drives me more crazy than lost chances to score. So, really taking care of the ball against a team that may mix defenses on us a little bit, may press us a little bit. Because certainly, you don't overlook any game. But then you got a one-day turnaround to Miami who – traditionally known as a really good defensive team, can really get going off the bounce, have a lot of players that can make plays, and they're shooting the heck out of the ball too. Everyone plays Miami zone, and it's not because they don't shoot it well, but because you just want to congest the driving lanes some. And so, but then they're shooting it at a really, really high level from 3, just not crazy high volume. Yeah, well, we're going straight to San Antonio tonight, knowing that we don't have our practice squad. We're going to go practice there on Friday. So we're just going to leave after the game and get there. So we'll do film in the hotel, and we'll start to go over personnel for Miami. And then Friday will be a little bit more, what do they do offensively, what do they do defensively, but we'll try to dial them into personnel Thursday. So, yeah. I think they're really athletic at multiple positions. They tend to play a lot of small ball. They can play with size at the 4-5, but they play a little bit more 4-around-1. I mean, they certainly have set plays and things, but when they can get driving lanes for their guards, their bench has been really, really good. Spearman, Hilton, Day Wilson is now starting, but, was coming off the bench the first 2/3 of the season or 2/3 of their current season. And so they play 10 players. They can come at you in a man press. They can come at you in a 2-2-1, but they really wait and trap you at half court. Right when your point guard gets her head down, then they come after you with their top 2 guards. and so they shoot it poorly from the free throw line, but they go get their offensive rebounds back, so they're just, and they're a team, even though they have a lot of transfers that are new this year, they're coming off an Elite Eight appearance. So they're like, I think they have like a confidence. They're undefeated. They have a confidence about them, and they're just really, really balanced inside out right now.
The team's assist numbers are, obviously near the top of the country. What are some areas that you've been really pleased with, just in terms of how they share the basketball, and where can they even improve?
Yeah, I think it's who I want to be. I don't want to be a isolation team. I don't. Certainly, you can get unassisted baskets by getting steals and getting out in transition, and a lot of teams do that. And I would never say that we don't want that, But I think when you talk about execution in the half court, we want to take what the defense gives us, and so it's getting the ball to the most open person, and with typically having 5 people on the floor that can score, I think as games have gone along. Even within games, I think we tend to get better as the game goes along at feeling what the defense is giving us, at moving it to the most open player, of being good in transition and making simple plays, and so we're getting it from a lot of different people. Certainly Jada and Sarah consistently share it, but Dre's had 5 assist games, Asia's had 5 assist games, like Yaya is a really good passer, and so because of that, Jana's had a huge, obviously, 12 assist game. So, getting them to just what I want is them to have the mindset that they're as pleased getting a teammate open, either with a pass or a screen, as they are with scoring themselves. And that's when you have a team that's hard to guard and a team that can be really successful, no matter who you play or when you play or what defense they play. So, I'm pleased with them, being willing passers. I think we still have room for improvement in terms of, being good at always facing up, always getting 10 toes to the rim, finding the inside out pass, when to feed it inside, when to see the diagonal against the zone. I still think we miss a lot of opportunities. Sometimes I feel like I can coach them into making the right next choice, especially in the second half. As my staff likes to say, sometimes I narrate entire possessions just to convince them one more or reattack or, they hear my voice, then they do it. Would they have done it if I hadn't said it? I don't know, but it's just kind of how I am, and I wish sometimes that they would be a little bit more like that. I said sometimes if you guys would narrate a defensive possession, you'd always have yourself in the right spot, like talk to yourself, but talk out loud, because I think you don't get lost in the help side if you're always kind of talking about what's happening. So I just think we can always get better. I think it's making simple plays. Sometimes if there's one thing that they would all tell you that drives me crazy is slinging the ball. It's 2 hands on the ball. Throw a skip pass when necessary, throw a bounce pass when necessary, throw it with your outside hand. But kind of the one hand, there are a time and a place for a one-handed pass. It could be, a wrap pass. It can be there are times, but not just slinging it for the sake of slinging it when it could be a chest pass, and I think the reason I believe that is I also believe the passer makes the shooter. So if you seam the ball on the pass, the shooter doesn't have to seam the ball to shoot it. And so the better passers we are, I think the better shooters we're going to be. So this idea of sometimes it's right decision, wrong pass, and really getting them to understand the difference between we got to play under people. Hey, Letty's 6'7", you can throw high to her, but play underneath to Bugs. It's really getting them to be good thinkers when they play.
Some of the roles that you wanted to get sorted out at the beginning of the season, at this point in the year, do you feel like any of those are becoming a little bit more defined?
Sure. I think that there is, I think we have, obviously Bella comes in first typically. I mean, I really feel like Bella's a starter. So she may come in 1 minute in, She may come in 5 minutes in, like against Oregon, because I thought our starting group, kind of got off to a good start at both ends in that game. I know Yaya is going to give us offensive punch and pace. Like, our pace goes way up when Yaya comes in. And so clearly those are our first two off the bench. And I think after that, sorting through, Madison has been our most, consistent post coming in first, kind of as a 5 if we go that direction. And some of it will be opponent driven. Like we've got to get, Letty comfortable being a factor and really dialed into what she's good at and how we can utilize her. I think Danae can be a shot maker. We've just needed to be consistent. I think that we do, but I still think each game dictates that. Like, if you'd have told me going into the Oregon game, it's probably the shortest bench I've used so far, and I didn't have that intention. But sometimes you feel the game out as it goes along, and you may have a plan, just like I may script the first 3 or 4 plays in my head, and then they're playing us different, and you have to kind of change that, because they may be matched up a different way than you thought they would. So I think sometimes it's just, to me, still feeling the game out. You may see me tomorrow do more 5-for-5 subbing and, like, give a group a chance. I don't usually do that, though. So I'm trying to talk myself into that.
Have you been in here long enough to have some sentimentality about this building, leaving here, memories, that kind of thing? Sarah's been in here longer than you.
Yeah. I think that, like, a really impactful moment for me was the press conference here. Like, I think that's the pace that the interview and courting process, whatever, was so fast. And I'd never been to Waco before, let alone Farrell. And so, my first introduction to Farrell was the press conference. And I think it was a significant moment because I've not ever been a part of a press conference where there were 1,000 people at. My press conference with the Dream we did during a Hawks game in the media room like this at State Farm Arena. And there were a couple local TV people and news reporters. So it made me feel like, I don't know that I'd arrived, because I don't really think that way. Like, I felt really good about where I was at in my career when I was with the Dream, but I think it kind of made me understand the importance of this job and the expectation and the support. So I think, that was a big deal. And then, I certainly think my favorite moment was the confetti coming down on Sunday against Texas Tech, and we had dominated start to finish in that game. And so, but, to me, Farrell Center is as much its warts as it is its, like, great moments. It's when it's hot outside, it's freezing cold in here, and when it's cold, it just, you can never guess. It's either super hot or super cold. The men's gym will be a sauna and our gym will be an ice box, or vice versa. Like, it's just amazing how, it's the rain and the towels and the practice gym at times. But it's just like any part of your life, it becomes home. It becomes where you build relationships, I'm, my first year, especially before I was in my house, like, I probably didn't leave here much earlier than 10 most nights, so I just spend a lot of time here. So it just becomes part of you. So, but walking Foster today, I definitely am excited to call that home and, create those memories. And, sitting on our terrace and thinking of the different ways that, we can make that rooftop terrace like a place to really, kind of make ours as a staff. And before you know it, I'll be asking for donations for like infinity edge water features that go down into the Brazos or something, like, or big slides or something. Like, they're just, my mind is going crazy in there outside of just basketball because it's such a cool location.